guess we've got to wish. Yeah, it's going to be exciting last round, isn't it? I guess from our position, we need a lot of things to go right for us, but ultimately our focus will be finishing off the season as strongly as we can. And West Coast away is a tough ask, but we'll be certainly going over there to put over a really good performance and hopefully get the win, and hopefully other results go our way too. But yeah, 9th is the new 8th, and obviously excited about that.
You must have an attacking mindset.
Yeah, we do. We need a few things to go our way. So first of all, we need Port to win here against Carlton. I think the aggregate is 61 points. So if Port beat Carlton by 30 points, we need to beat West Coast by 31 points. So we'll keep one eye on that. But our focus should be to go over to West Coast and win well. So it shouldn't change whether you go more attacking or you try and lock them down. We'll just go over there and try and win as best we can. No, I haven't put a call in. They trained before us this morning, and a couple of our staff sort of had a bit of overlap, and there was a bit of friendly banter about, we're obviously hoping that Port win well this week. It's not very often that a Crows staff member says that, or Crows coaching staff say we hope Port play well this week, but yeah, ultimately we need them to win, and we need them to win well.
Brenton, how do you couch this with the players all week? Has it been the dream is alive and you still do something with all this?
Yeah, very much so. We still have to keep our focus very narrow, which is go over and play well. It's nice to feel that it's round 23, it's final round of the season. A good win can potentially put us in September. So that does breed a bit of excitement around the place, and we've had a disappointing season in a lot of regards because we've won 9 games. But I've said it, particularly the second half of the season, it feels like even with the depth that we've called upon, all the kids we've been playing, it feels like we're still playing some good footy. We just need to put it together for 4 quarters, and if we get a 4-quarter performance this week, I'm sure we'll really test West Coast. No, it won't. We'll still pick our best 22. Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, if you go in a game thinking we're just going to make it a shootout and score as many points as we can, you can almost go the other way too. And we want to try and prevent West Coast from scoring as much as possible. But as I said, we'll have one eye on the game here, which is Port Adelaide versus Carlton. It'd be nice if Port, won by 60 points. Then we only just need a 1-point win, But yeah, that adds to the excitement. It adds to the, I guess, the anticipation of the last week of the home and away season, and it's going to be a ripper.
What is your take on the punishment has got?
I guess talking as a football fan, I'm glad that it's over. It's now we can get our focus back on footy, and if we play in September or not, it's going to be a really good finals series. And I think the football purists out there, the people that love watching their footy, this story's dominated the media all season, and it's probably the spotlight now, hopefully, will return to what's going to be a great last round and hopefully a really good final series. And if we're part of that, that's fantastic. It's going to be great. But regardless, I think we're all pretty happy now that the decision's been made, the penalties have come out, and we can get the focus back to playing footy.
You were fairly vocal that when you guys copped your draft penalties, that was one of the major things to come out of that. Now Essendon still has a first round draft pick next year. How does that make you feel knowing that you've got slugged 2 times 2?
Yeah, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, to be honest. We've received our penalty last year, and it's important for us not to get caught up in the emotion of what's happened to Essendon. Our focus has got to be on how we can make our club better, and we're certainly moving forward. As I said, I don't really care what happened to Essendon. I'm focusing on my football team and how we can overcome our draft sanctions. And I've said all year, we'll look for ways to make our squad better. That could be through trades, it could be through free agency. We're going to beef up our development program. Those sort of things are all happening behind the scenes to ensure that we don't let this beat us. And Essendon are going to have to go through something similar, and that's just the way it's going to be. No, not so much. I've got enormous faith in the staff that I've got working here for me and with me, and we've got some great people working really hard to ensure that our list just keeps getting better and better. And it's 2 years without first and second round picks is not ideal, but we're still looking for ways to get better, and there's some great people ensuring that that's going to happen.
Just on that, I'd like to believe Mark Gifford's re-signed, Darren Milburn did some weeks ago mid-season.
Yep.
So you've pretty much
Yeah, it is. I mean, off field, we're actually really settled here. I really like the team off field, and you know, within a couple of weeks, we'll probably announce the person who will coach our state league side. You know, the second team, and for the Crows, which is exciting too. You know, to have a really settled group off field, I think, does aid in the development of our boys. You know, we've had 2 years of really strong development already. You know, with the Rising Star nominations, and even on the weekend, we won a game with 6 players under 14 games experience. You know, a third of our squad had played less than 14 games. It's a really good sign. It shows that we really rate development and pushing up our younger players.
On that, how good is it?
Yeah, Kerridge is an important one too for us. You know, he's just got something that, you know, in the next 2, 3, 4 years, we're going to have a really good player. And our team, David Noble, Phil Harper, Stephen Trigg, have done a great job in ensuring that our young talent's going to stay here, and really impressed to see all our young boys re-sign, and it's the building of a really talented young squad.
Brenton, just on the Essendon thing, what lessons have you learned for
I think what we've probably all found is the importance of governance at your football club, and ensuring that that you employ the right people at the right time, and you're across all your systems. That's, I guess, the lesson we can all learn. You know, from the CEO, the senior coach, football manager down, we have to ensure that we're across everything that's happening at the footy club. Sometimes that can be a real challenge, but I guess that's the lesson to be learned here.
With James Hird, a young coach like yourself, how hard is it for him to come back into the fold after a few games, do you think?
Yeah, tough one to call. I guess we'll have to wait and see. You know, we certainly have a little bit of empathy, I guess, for what the Essendon staff and their players are going through. They've been hit pretty hard. You know, they're pretty serious penalties against their club. To be taken out of this year's finals, and obviously the fine, and 4 key members of their staff with suspensions is a significant punishment, and they're going to have to do their very best to overcome that. But yeah, that's for Essendon to focus on. We'll focus on West Coast this week. Yeah, I mean, they've played 2 good sides the last 2 weeks and been beaten. They beat Essendon the week before that, you know, in a really good performance that Eddie had. We understand, we know West Coast's best is very, very good. They're a difficult opponent at Subiaco. They're a bit like us. They haven't had the form at home this year. They haven't been winning games at home. But it's going to be an interesting matchup. You know, they've got a few injuries too. Embley potentially coming back for his 250th and final game. Selwood coming back for potentially his last game with retirement too. So a fair bit of emotion over there for them. But we've just got to narrow our focus about going over there and playing well. But we understand their best is very, very good. Yeah, selection will be after this press conference. We'll go. We'll put up a few options. I've liked Jacobs. He's been really good the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks as the solo ruckman. But we'll certainly talk about, you know, trying to combat Cox and Lysette. They play 2 rucks, so that'll be something that will certainly come into debate and discussion at match committee today. I did. We were 13 points up with 2.5 minutes to go and lost. Kennedy kicks that left foot goal. So yeah, had a good look at it last night. We played really well in that game for patches, but the story of our season is we didn't play well enough for long enough, and we allowed them to get back into the contest late in the game, and some things broke down late in the contest. But it was a really good game of footy. We'll certainly look, I mean, with every team we play twice in a season, we look back at the previous matchup, and we've learnt some things. Both teams will look very different though. The 2 teams that run out, very different, even from round 15. I don't think anyone in our forward line that was playing in round 15 will be playing this week. You know, it's a very different team even from sort of 6, 7 weeks ago. Yeah, I think what I've liked with us the last few weeks, we're winning contested ball, we're winning clearances, we're getting inside 50s. I mentioned it last week after the game. You know, we've got a very small forward line at the moment, but they're working well together. Our young defence is holding up, so if we can bring our best, we'll be hard to beat over there.
You previously mentioned the concern of the interchange cap. Now that there's been enough put on it, how do you think that will affect the game going forward?
Yeah, I don't think it'll have a major impact on the game right away. We've never been a supporter of the interchange cap, and I don't think any team is. But now that it's in and it's 120, we'll learn to live with it too. You know, there's I think 4 teams that average above 140 a week. We're one of those, so we're probably one team that has to make some minor adjustments to how we play and our game plan. But that's 2 or 3 rotations a quarter. It shouldn't have a significant impact on how the game's played. I'm just grateful that it wasn't 80. You know, that was the number that was floated early in the suggestions. But yeah, 120 is something that we can live with. It's not a major adjustment to the AFL and how it's played. So we'll just live to play with it like every other club.
Will it change the way you recruit? You know about recruiting, maybe type of athletes, more footballers?
Not majorly, it won't. No. I mean, I think with 120, that's the key. As I said, if it was 80, if they came out and said the interchange cap's now 80, that does hurt certain players who haven't got the aerobic base. But 120 is a bit probably smarter initially. I think they've locked it in for a couple of seasons just to get a bit of a feel for injuries and how it looks like. Yeah, I'm just happy that it's 120 and not 80.
You guys been preparing for an interview? This young number of players has said personally that
Yeah, I think every club looks at their aerobic base as a key measure, and we've got some players that sort of it's going to help them, with less rotations. They got the really good aerobic base, and others we're going to have to push a little bit harder through the pre-season. But yeah, we sort of have been a little bit with our preparation, and we knew a cap was coming. We thought it would be between 80 and 120, so we have adjusted a little bit the way we train, but you'll see a significant change in how we train over the summer. Yeah, perhaps, yeah. You probably get I think with the increase in aerobic base, you'll probably get more of that sort of aerobic animal, those sort of guys that can sort of run all day, play a multitude of positions. Guys will probably go back to playing in the midfield and, the active rest forward, which is what we had back in the 80s and stuff, So that's one way the game might change a little bit too. Yeah, he did the warm-up in a couple of the drills today. It looks like he'll be fine. Copped that heavy knock in the back, but he's meticulous with his preparation and his recovery. He'll get up. You just sort of sense that he's the one that just does everything right, and I think he'll be fine. It'll be a really good matchup. Him and Kennedy. Kennedy four goals off the Coleman. A bit of a game within a game there too. Those guys really. I think you enjoy the rivalry that's starting to develop between those two as well.
You wouldn't be so worried about him creating that much. Is that just a defender?
Yeah, you've been Talia? Yeah. I mean, he pushed forward and kicked a nice goal on the weekend, but yeah, his role, if he does come up, will be primarily to shut down Kennedy.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys.